Spotlight every Thursday at 7 p.m. right here on Capital Television, your channel of choice.
In Capital News tonight, Zanzibar confirms second coronavirus case. Government to employ 1,000 doctors to address shortage. And in sports, the beach volleyball national team has continued with training despite suspension of international competitions. Good evening. Capital News at 9:30. My name is Khadija Zimbwe. First, the national news. The government of Zanzibar has confirmed the second coronavirus case, a German national who contracted the virus from her husband, a Ghanaian, and first coronavirus patient in the Isles. Zanzibar has also announced that after 3 days it will be closing its borders to citizens who wish to return from abroad.
We tested a sample from the lady. Luckily, she came back negative. When we tested her again yesterday, the test came back positive. So in Zanzibar, we have 2 cases. We are keeping them under observation. They will be well looked after.
Tunawaambia ndugu zetu, sasa kuja Zanzibar inatosha.
We are given 3 days from today, after which we are going to close our borders for Zanzibarians or visitors. You've seen that we've not had internal cases, all are imported. We ask you to bear with us during this period.
Tujazalisha mtu ndani, lakini watu tunawapata kutoka hapa nje.
Meanwhile, President and Chairman of the Revolutionary Council, Dr. Ali Mohammed Shein, has called on citizens of Zanzibar to adhere to government directives on the coronavirus, which has become a global pandemic. He made the call in his first address to the people of Zanzibar after touring the site, which will be used for construction of a research center at Binguni area in South Unguja.
They must honor instructions given by the government and from leaders so we can be saved. We don't have the capacity in Zanzibar to fight this pandemic. America and China are struggling despite their capabilities. This will affect us economically. We've closed schools, madrasa classes and colleges and other areas too. Nonetheless, development projects are intact and will carry on, and if there are any issues, then we will address them with the contractors.
Endapo itakuwa kuna tatizo, tutajua namna kufanya, si na contractors.
The Member of Parliament of Arusha Urban, Godbless Lema, has appeared in Singida Resident Magistrate Court to face charges on 15 offences, which include sedition and spreading false information on Twitter on alleged killings of 14 people in Manyoni district. The accused is alleged to have committed the offences on February 29th this year at the funeral of Alex Jonas. The accused, Godbless Lema, has been released after meeting bail conditions which required him to have 2 sureties, with each one owing non-movable assets worth 5 million shillings. Bridge in Morogoro region, which President Dr. John Magufuli has directed to be rehabilitated within 7 days, has been reopened, enabling residents from the area to access various social services. Construction work on the bridge is continuing, and when completed, heavier vehicles will be allowed to use the bridge.
Wataruhusu magari kupita kuanzia tarehe 28.
Vehicles will be allowed to pass from the 28th. Work was done within the specified 7 days. However, more time is needed to allow the concrete to set. So I ask road users to accept the request made and allow this bridge to get stronger. When they tried to cross over, the current was too powerful and swept them away, and the sick have also had to go back home.
The Ministry of Health, Community Development, Gender, the Elderly and Children will deploy 1,000 doctors who will be deployed at hospitals and health centers in the country in order to address the problem on shortage of doctors, and that will collaborate closely with Benjamin Mkapa Foundation to address issues concerning human resources development.
Hospitali ya Taifa Muhimbili tutaweka madaktari 40.
Muhimbili National Hospital will be allocated 40 doctors, Benjamin Mkapa Hospital 20 doctors, Muhimbili Orthopedic Institute 10 doctors, Jakaya Kikwete Cardiac Institute 7 doctors, and Ocean Road Cancer Institute 7 doctors. These posts have been published, and we've allowed from yesterday to the 10th for all applicants to submit applications. The 307 health workers who are required as of the 23rd to the 27th to have reported. They will work in areas to do with HIV, TB, malaria, and the fight against the coronavirus.
2006 tulipoanzishwa mpaka Disemba 2019.
In 2006, when we started, to December 2019, we've continued to strengthen maternal services, infrastructure, and on the number of health workers. By December 2019, we've employed 2,181 workers.
Nchi nzima kwenye vituo mbalimbali hasa vya serikali, na baadhi yao wamefanya kwenye vituo vya kidini.
The Land Transport Regulatory Authority, LATRA, and the Commuter Bus Owners Association in Mwanza have been blamed for failing to implement directives given by the government on preventative measures against the coronavirus. The concerns were raised by stakeholders of commuter bus transport at various bus stops in the city.
We have no time to make sure that every passenger hand washes because we compete over passengers. We've not been consulted by our municipal councils to plan on how or who is going to buy buckets and soap. There is a need to speak to drivers and conductors so we can have a plan to wash hands before passengers get into the vehicle. Regarding hand wash, it has become a challenge to public transport owners to buy sanitizers or store water in the vehicle. So we've spoken to stakeholders to help us in this regard.
Tuwe na maji safi pamoja na sanitizer kama itawezekana.
And that is the end of national news. International news follows next. And in international news tonight, Rwanda has reported 4 new coronavirus cases, making the number of confirmed cases rise to 40. 2 of the cases were passengers who had arrived in Rwanda from Dubai. One of the patients had traveled from Brussels, Belgium, and the other contracted the virus after being in contact with an infected person.
Those living in upcountry still have misinterpretations regarding this virus, since many of them believe that this disease is for those living in Kigali and it's for white people and those who have come back from outside the country. We have decided to start giving education regarding coronavirus so that we could protect many Rwandese.
The Ministry of Health in Uganda on Wednesday confirmed 5 new coronavirus cases. The Minister of Primary Health Care, Dr. Joyce Moriku, said the new cases bring the total number of confirmed patients to 14, and that among the 5, 2 are Chinese nationals. Now moving on, Kenya has recorded the first recovery from coronavirus. Making an announcement on Wednesday, President Uhuru Kenyatta said the patient had fully recovered from the infection. However, he said that 3 more patients had tested positive for the coronavirus, bringing the total tally to 28 confirmed cases. President Kenyatta also announced measures aimed at making sure the economy will not be hard hit by the coronavirus pandemic.
Yesterday, Kenya had 25 confirmed cases of the coronavirus, and today we have received confirmation of an additional 3 cases, bringing our national tally to 28 confirmed cases. I am also pleased to announce that numerous other suspects or suspected cases have been found to be negative after rigorous testing. But more importantly, today we have registered our first patient who has fully recovered from this virus. Friday, 27th March 2020, there will be a daily curfew from 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. in the morning.
Parliament in Germany is debating on aid package aimed to bolster the economy in the face of coronavirus-related shocks. To discuss more on the current situation in Germany as it fights the coronavirus pandemic, we are joined with Emmanuel from Deutsche Welle. Emmanuel, what can you tell us on the current situation as Germany takes measures against the coronavirus pandemic?
Well, the government is currently discussing the possibility of giving out billions of euros in a package, it's in a help package to try and tackle what's going to happen to the German economy, badly hit by this pandemic. Experts say that the GDP will be hit between 7 and 20% by this crisis. Meanwhile, coronavirus crisis are on the rise as well, with 31,500 cases registered as of today, with a death toll of 150.
All right, new confinement measures have been adopted by the German government. How have Germans responded to them?
Well, as of this weekend, people are not allowed anymore to gather by more than 2 persons. Not more than 2 people are allowed to meet up outside, for example, and they are only allowed to go outside for necessary things such as doing their shopping or going to the doctor or going to work for those of the Germans who cannot work from home. And surprisingly, they're taking the measures quite well. A survey showed that 95% of the Germans actually approved of those measures, and 75% of the Germans actually had faith, really trusted their government in the handling of the current crisis.
So can you give us a description of what life is like in Berlin right now as it fights against the coronavirus pandemic?
Well, you know, it's really strange. It's a very eerie town. It's the feeling you only have on the 1st of January when everyone is still asleep. Everyone stays confined at home. You only communicate with your family, with your friends through emails, through Skype and the like, and WhatsApp. Those are the only tools we have to remain in touch with one another. And when you go to the shops, you can see people being quite tense. There's quite a lot of stress going on. So it's a very strange atmosphere, very peculiar atmosphere here in the German capital.
All right, thank you so much, Emmanuel, for those updates. It looks like the whole world will soon remain indoors as we try to fight coronavirus pandemic. Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for the updates.
Thank you.
And that is the end of international news. Business news follows next.
Watch Business Edition as we talk to business leaders and experts in sectors that are transforming Tanzania's economy.
We believe that the driver is the customer.
To change the mindset of traditional HR to the digitalization.
Make sure that everybody can get some access to financial services.
And once we understand the vision of our leaders, we then need to be behind them and help them in achieving that vision.
Business have involved mercantile operations, trade guilds, or shared agricultural production, infrastructure, construction, financial sectors, tourism, and mining. Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m.
Welcome back, and in business news, Arusha City Council has leaders at the mineral market from charging fees. Small traders who conduct their activities outside the market. Leaders at the mineral market have said that they had imposed the fees in order to collect revenue for various operations such as cleaning up the market environment. Moving on, horticulture farmers in Tanzania will soon start to benefit from a reliable market after two companies from Kenya entered contracts with institutions working with farmers to buy their produce.
We are visiting Nairobi and cities nearby to get experience and learn skills in agriculture. We have found out that many farmers in the country are still lagging behind due to several hindrances of accessing bigger markets. However, we managed to meet two companies which are ready to buy onions and tomatoes from Tanzania because Tanzanian onions are favorable in Kenyan markets.
So I need to fill up those gaps. If we can't grow tomatoes in this area; it's too cold for that. So if I get tomatoes and I make a contract with the farmers, and then suddenly you don't have tomatoes for 2 months.
Sunflower edible oil processors at Kiperesa Ward, Kiteto District, Manyara region have expressed concern on rising production costs and drop in market prices, claiming that the situation is hindering efforts to develop the industrial sector.
Our main challenge is markets, from crumbs to oil. We buy sunflower at high prices and we invest a lot to get the final product. All these are caused by poor road. Because if you look at our fellows in Dodoma and Babati, their sunflower oil prices are high due to good road infrastructures. As a youth, we decide to engage in these activities to support ourselves economically. If you look at where we are, this place is very far and the roads are very bad, making it difficult for us to reach markets. People could organize themselves in groups of between 15 to 30 people to build their capital in buying shares. The groups will be a great opportunity for them to access loans, where some groups have influenced formulation of small oil processing factories.
first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment and going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's going to be dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 metres. Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment and going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's going to be dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 metres. Opposition, Joaquinho, he did lose to Lent.
Welcome back, and in sports news tonight. The beach volleyball national team has continued with its training camp despite postponement of all international competitions due to the coronavirus pandemic.
The camp will be officially dissolved on 29th, and this is due to the postponement of this year's Olympics until next year. In the camp period, the aim was to put foundation of basics and techniques, and we have succeeded a lot. So when the camp is dissolved, we'll be waiting for Africa Volleyball Association to tell us if the African qualifications will take place.
Tanzania Professional Boxing Regulatory Authority TPBRC has urged stakeholders to follow the required practices in order to avoid a spread of coronavirus.
Kusimamisha michezo yote, masuala yote yanayohusiana na ngumi za kulipwa ikiwemo michezo.
We've decided to stop all professional boxing issues, including fights that were supposed to take place in a 30-day span from 17th of March to 17th of April. For boxers who requested to travel abroad, as said earlier, the Sports Council will not provide permits for athletes and boxers who have games in that 1 month.
English football's top clubs have launched a stunning bid to stop Manchester City attempting to play in the Champions League while their appeal against a 2-year ban is ongoing. Here's more on the story.
In a bombshell disclosure, Sportsmail can reveal that the entire top 10, with the exception of City and Sheffield United, have submitted a joint application to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, which will hear City's appeal against their punishment from UEFA for breaching financial fair play rules. The group, which includes the likes of Liverpool, Manchester United, Arsenal and Chelsea, have separately written to the same law firm, which has then sent an application backed by all to the arbitration body. It states that should City request that their punishment is stayed while their appeal is ongoing, all the clubs strongly object. It is understood, however, that such a request has not been lodged by the Premier League champions.
And England international Harry Kane is on course to be fit when the Premier League resumes. Here's the story.
The Tottenham striker has been out with a hamstring injury since New Year's Day and says that in normal circumstances he would expect to resume training with the team in 2 to 3 weeks. There will be no matches played until 30th of April at the earliest because of coronavirus, and Premier League clubs are due to discuss the situation again next week. Reflecting on the wider picture in football and society, Kane said it's such a strange situation. No one has to be in this situation before.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin for tonight. My name is Khadija Zimbwe. Thank you for watching and good night.